Morning, natural health and truth seekers. It's Dr. Adelena Izold, and I am very excited to be here with you all and ring in the new year, 2026. It is no longer the year of the snake. It is officially the year of the horse, which is allowing us to shed the skin and let go of all the things that are potentially leading us into this new year. The horse is where we're going to be taking the lead, giddy up, and get moving forward with our goals. And so I am very much so excited to discuss some of those January expectations and truly a naturopathic functional approach to cleansing your mind, your body, your spirit, and ultimately just getting ready for what the year has to come. So I was hoping to start off with a guided opening meditation that is specific for a January reset. So before we begin, invite yourself to get comfortable. Whether you're seated, laying down, or simply settling into the space you're in. If it feels safe for you, gently close your eyes or soften your gaze. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and a long, unhurried exhale through the mouth. Let your shoulders drop. Unclench the jaw. Allow your body to arrive here. Take another deep breath in, feeling your chest expand, the belly soften, and exhale, releasing anything you don't want to carry into this moment so that you can be present. January often arrives with so much pressure to do, to change, to fix. But right now, there's nothing required of you. This is a pause, a moment of listening. Bring your awareness to your body, noticing sensations without judgment, warmth or coolness, stillness or restlessness. You're just simply observing. Now gently place a hand over your heart or your abdomen, wherever feels most grounding. And with your next breath, imagine creating a little more space inside. Space for clarity, space for nourishment, space for healing. As a naturopathic reminder, I want you to know that your body already knows how to heal. Your nervous system already knows how to find balance. Our work is to support, not force. Silently offer yourself this intention for the year ahead. I choose to listen to my body with curiosity and compassion. I release the need to rush my healing. Take one slow breath in and steady breath out. When you're ready, gently bring your awareness back, wiggling your fingers or your toes, opening your eyes if you had closed them. So now let's carry this grounded presence through our discussion today, which is a gentle exploration of January, expectations and nourishment for the mind, body, and spirit in the year ahead. All right. So I really want to get this message out to all of us that January isn't about restriction or punishment. I know that maybe some of us have gone a little bit crazy over the last 2 months between Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and even New Year's Eve and all the celebrations in between, family gatherings. But those 2 months do not deflect or alter the fact that if you have been striving towards a goal, those other 10 months out of that year, you were clearing that space. You were allowing yourself that opportunity. The biggest struggle or challenge is when you feel like you have to catch up and it's just 1 year spills into the next year. And then, you end up waking 10 years older out of shape and with chronic health conditions. So at this point, I really want us to reframe and see this opportunity of the new year to allow us to shift into the new version or the new goals that we have set for our year above, because we're really using January as an opportunity to clear space and restore our balance. And that has to do with your mind more so than anything, because what we've been doing isn't necessarily working, or what we just recently visited. I think so many of us, even if this is a regroup to kind of get back onto our health goals after a crazy couple months with the holidays, it's an opportunity for you to recognize that you do feel better when you are practicing naturopathic lifestyles, such as dietary lifestyle, exercise, supplementation, factors like that. And if you had skewed away and you got back on maybe eating something or going out or doing something that's atypical for you, staying up late, well, maybe this is allow you to see that side and, listen. Wow, I do not feel good when I stay up all night and eat whatever. You know what I mean? So this is an opportunity for us to introduce January as a transitional healing month, not a detox boot camp. So this is a way for us to really understand and listen to our body instead of forcing it into, okay, we need to do this detox because I've been so bad. Well, then that becomes an issue because your body ends up having more stress than relief. So I really want us to set the nervous system first, in the sense of setting our intention to really understand that we're trying to support healing rhythms and not deadlines. So before we change anything, we have to pause and listen. And this is truly where functional medicine, I feel, creates the most support and framework for your healing in that transitional month, because in January, potentially that's when you reassess some of your blood markers, or maybe go through some of the functional assessments, whether it's stool assessments, whether it's hormonal pictures, adrenal stress index, whatever that might look like for you. It's giving us objective trackers to not guess, but test what's happening. Give us a snapshot in time in our body so that we can best support it, as opposed to suppressing the symptoms. And that's really the focus of functional medicine, is supporting systems, not suppressing symptoms. So unfortunately, January is challenging because everybody wants to do these extreme detoxes and they end up backfiring. It ends up, altering your stress hormones, your blood sugar, triggering inflammation. And so many of us are maybe jumping the gun and not necessarily understanding that our body has natural detox pathways, such as our liver, gut, lymph, skin, kidneys, and they're not looking for quick cleanses. They all have to synergistically work together to help your body actively excrete. So some of the foundations that are so critical before you're even able to focus on detoxing and forcing your body is drainage. So supporting things like sleep, good water, minerals, nervous system, really truly cleansing the mind is the first detox organ. I mean, so many of us have mental clutter, decision fatigue, emotional residue from the past year, and we're living in sympathetic overdrive. Go, 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 go. And we're forgetting to support our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our ability to rest and digest. And so there are so many components that trigger our cortisol, affect our blood sugar, inability to sleep and get that restorative sleep. And so we're overly inflamed. I mean, the list truly goes on. And so that's where potentially setting your thoughts and knowing that you don't need to carry things that no longer support your healing. So, and it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. You can just start with, setting some digital boundaries. Okay, I'm not going to be on my phone at night, or setting some intentions with morning stillness, journaling, praying, and really trying to be aware of where you are in your body. And that's why, as a naturopath and a functional provider, when I work with my patients, I do request updates on a weekly basis, because so many of us unfortunately don't take that time to scan and check in. And so if I can prompt them and say, hey, send me an email because in 1 week you should be pooping, you should be doing all these things, I want them to be able to reach out to me and tell me, yeah, actually that is better. And that's the biggest challenge with subtle natural shifts that, yes, take time, but your body is receptive to it in small incremental ways that allows this big overbuild of just relief and shifts. And so it's very exciting. So as we spoke, the mind is truly the most significant place to start. So you got to get your mind right. And that's why I really appreciate January in the sense of, yeah, okay, diet culture resets, but there is that energetic shift around us. Like everybody has an idea, okay, new year, what's up? What are we going to do this year? And so I really want you to reflect on that and use, not even that first week in January. It's funny how January 1st ended up being on a Thursday. So many of us are like, well, we'll wait till Monday to start those resolutions, which is funny, but it doesn't have to be a resolution. It can be just that awareness of, okay, what are some of the things that I'm hoping to achieve mentally during this, because the mind will then work synergistically along with the body. So if you set a standard for maybe it's consistency, maybe it's presence, gratitude, those are some of my reflections that I'm setting forward and intentions for the new year, just trying to be a little bit more grateful for what I've achieved and how far I've come instead of looking at where I need to be all the time, because nobody really even knows what that looks like, right? So maybe you can set yourself some smaller goals, but even presence, just so having that reflection on, okay, what does 2026 mean to you? It's the year of the horse. It's the year to go all in. And so I want you to go all in on yourself. So as we discussed, cleansing the body through a naturopathic functional mindset, it's a little bit different. So this is really where we're trying to really support nourishment and not deprivation. So that's things like trying to support an anti-inflammatory style diet. And that doesn't mean eliminating all foods. It ultimately means trying to make better decisions, whether that's making more foods at home so that you have more quality control on the quality of the oils or, the quality of the meat, factors like that, which so many of us don't think about. Anti-inflammatory nourishment can be trying to set or plan ahead for some of your meals. And I think that that's so critically important because blood sugar balance is so critical, especially here when we're trying to reassess and realign our goals for the year to come, because we don't want to burn out and try to restrict, maybe practicing intermittent fasting or skipping meals and calorie restricting. That's the opposite of what we want to do. We want to provide the body more frequent times of nourishment, like every 2 to 3 hours, to keep that blood sugar stable during the day, but try to prioritize real raw sources of food. So good quality fibers and proteins like leafy greens and proteins and, just trying to get those sources in more readily to remind the body, hey, we have access to food and healthy food that provides nutrients. And that's why so many individuals, they have a misconception when it comes to functional medicine because they've been working with providers that just supplement their problems. Well, as a naturopath, I'm here to teach you that eating intelligently is an art. So trying to combine a superfood meal that still tastes good, I mean, that's like one of my goals. I love doing that. And if that's not something that you're really keen or aware of, just because, generationally that wasn't taught. And I guess I get surprised when patients aren't as familiar with some of the food groups and what those mean. And, obviously we have health science in the high school and such, but, your mindset towards it is not really all in, right? So many of us work along our families' rituals and what was taught on us. And so I really think that this 2026 is the year of, we passed the year of the snake, which is shedding, letting go. We got to let go of some of those, even if they're cultural or familial rituals that no longer serve us. We have more awareness. We are more individualized than that. And we do need to practice better style eating that's more specific for our body. So anti-inflammatory nourishment is different for everybody. And that's where having had functional assessments or guidelines or a naturopath working alongside you to really discuss what does anti-inflammatory mean for you. But in general, there are more food groups that tend to contribute to inflammation, such as gluten, cow's milk, dairy, peanuts, soy, and even eggs, unfortunately. And it's more so has a lot to do with the quality. And so many of us are just eating packaged foods instead of really getting to making our own salads at home or making our shakes, making our food from scratch, those type homesteadings that I'm not expecting you to, start making your sourdough, but I do expect you to be a little bit more curious as to how many hands have touched this food before it's gotten to me, and what are some of the steps and strategies that it keeps to stay on the shelf or whatever that might be. So just awareness yet again comes into play. But as we discussed, blood sugar balance, eating smaller, more frequent meals that are primarily focused on fiber and protein. And a lot of those fiber dense foods are naturally rich in minerals. But hydration is a big key piece. So, like this first week, as much as I haven't set my goals to start my resolutions and such till Monday, because I'm one of those, I am still focusing on my hydration. I'm still focusing on taking my supplements every day, gentle movement. So, like, I'm still moving my body. Maybe I'm not eating as clean as maybe I'm as aware of. I've had panettone, I've had, affogatos, I had a bunch of Italian delicacies that I don't necessarily indulge in on the regular, but at the same instance, it's that awareness, right? Knowing that, hey, this is not my typical, right? And I'm missing getting back to those foods that I so naturally enjoy, and I can tell in just my digestive health and the way my focus is during the day, factors like that. But other things, gentle movement can look different for everybody. So I'm not saying, hey, go out and train for a marathon. But if you're somebody that, you enjoy going for walks, you just haven't coordinated it in your day to day to go for a 30-minute walk every day or to do a 30-minute meditation. I mean, everybody's movement can look different. So I really would love all of you to explore what you like and just do more of that. But lymphatic flow tends to be more specific when we're doing light rebounding, bouncing. Those are ways that you can kind of get your body ready for removal, like that drainage. So we want to add before removing. We want to avoid these extremes. You can't just cut out food. It's like, that's not going to work. You need to eat more of the good food and less of the bad food, right? Eat more of the seasonal foods that are around us right now. I mean, we have so many at our disposal. And I want everybody to learn more about, okay, out of the foods. So I will be sharing a little PDF of approved foods. So if you're interested in that, please give Full Circle an email or a call, and we can get that to you, just so that you can learn a little bit about what are the foods that are yeses and what are foods that are no, so that maybe you can correlate a list of those seasonal foods that really happen to be around and accessible. So I really want everyone, yet again, to ground into the intention of consistency over intensity. Sometimes less is more, and you don't want to just go balls to the wall. And some of us are all or nothing individuals, but that's where we can break and go down to nothing, right? And what I try to support so many of my patients with that understanding is that healing happens when the body feels safe. So you're never necessarily going to get out of stress, infection, inflammation, if your body doesn't necessarily feel like it has access to good quality sleep, to good quality food, to good water. And so that is truly the one first step in trying to cleanse your body, right? So the next section, we spoke of cleansing the mind. And I really think even cleansing the mind is an act. Like, for me, I'm very spiritual. I work with nonprofit healing group. My husband and I are active in our church. So, we have that framework and groundedness that helps us with our spirit. When it comes to mind, I feel like that's just expanding outside of your typical. So whether it's learning a new skill, whether it's connecting into your own intentions and awareness, that's more mind. Body is kind of setting yourself up with good food, good water, factors like that. And now we're going to be talking about cleansing the spirit. So those are the emotional and energetic compounds. And so really we need to understand that boundaries are medicine. Like, not surrounding yourself with individuals just because you feel obligated to. I mean, boundaries are critical for so many things. I mean, even New Year's, I was not willing to stay up till midnight. I know that that's so silly, but it's like sleep is something so valuable to me that staying up actually throws off the rest of my day. And so I have to set those boundaries amongst other people that, like, hey, I know that that's a standard across the board for everyone else, but for me, that's not what I like to do, right? So trying to really focus on what serves you. At the end of the day, I think it's important to acknowledge that not everybody's going into the new year with all these new goals. And, it might be we're grieving or we've lost, and we really need to let go of what happened in 2025 and look at 2026 as an opportunity to align your health goals with your values and your purpose. Maybe it's, some of us, it's just wanting to get up out of bed every day. I don't want us to say that there's all these different extremes, right? But I really think that if you can contribute to some rituals like getting up, brushing your teeth, going to the bathroom, having a warm glass of water, I mean, those type factors is that sustain and are yours. And what I love most about connecting with my nonprofit groups and talking with my peers is that everybody expressed gratitude of what the year before has taught them, as opposed to being greedy and talking about all the things they want in the new year. And I think that that's also a very healthy practice, is to kind of look at where you were to better appreciate where you are. And connection, maybe 2026 is an opportunity for you to connect to yourself and know that you can do it. You don't need all these other people to push you. But if you want, there are obviously naturopathic providers, personal trainer, nutritionists. There are so many individuals out there that you can connect with that can help you best align with your spiritual goals on bettering yourself and aligning your health to being so much more. So I think one of the questions we can ask ourselves is, what does my spirit need more of this year? Not what should I fix? But some of the ways that helps me is bridging healing and goal setting. So we want to offer like alternatives in the sense of health intentions as opposed to rigid resolutions. Like, I want to move every day. Well, that's very different than I want to run a 5K every day. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of setting yourself with like, every day I want to set my focus and my intention towards prioritizing my health, right? And really taking a one step at a time focus. We want to track symptoms instead of outcomes. That's kind of what I've expressed, is that so many of my patients and I, there's so much hand holding in the beginning because we're really trying to support, how are you feeling? Are you shifting in that, recommended or desired trends and for the better? And really trying to have compassion-based accountability. What I see about this for so many people is maybe even they've set so many new intentions and resolutions, and then they don't achieve them, and then they go radio silent, right? They're just so guilty and down on themselves. And I was one of those, right? I was just like, oh, I'm going to do all these things. And it's like, the year is long, you guys. So let's really set this month as an opportunity for us to be realistic with our approaches. Like, maybe it is just this month moving every day, drinking my water, just like resetting the framework of what being healthy is, not taking a million supplements, not going out and spending a majority of our day exercising, going to bed at 8 o'clock. So I really want us to kind of change our framework and be like, this year, I support my hormones. This year, I stabilize my nervous system. This year, I nourish instead of restrict. And I think that that was a beautiful thing, even for me, is that I spent so much of my life trying to get to a desired goal weight and do all these things. But I have noticed that the weight is not necessarily a direct reflection of my health because, yes, through functional medicine and blood testing and all those approaches, I'm able to see at a cellular level how healthy I am, but also just like being able to accept and be proud of the things that I'm accomplishing in a given day, as a working mom, as somebody in that realm. It's like, okay, I'm doing great, and it's setting that standard and appreciation for what you're able to do, and instead of looking at what you're not doing, right? That's not a good way to go through life, unfortunately. So I think that this is an opportunity for us to reaffirm that naturopathic and functional approaches are slow and really are supporting you for sustained healing. And so I invite anyone here that's listening to consider, what is one way you can best support your mind, your body, your spirit this year. And, try to check in with yourself monthly and daily to really see if you're achieving those goals, if you are seeing yourself as hitting those resolutions that maybe you have set in that month framework of alignment and awareness. So your body already knows how to heal. Our job is to remove the obstacles and offer support. And that's where functional medicine gives us the lens, naturopathic gives us the tools. And so I'm very, very excited for all of you that are maybe looking into 2026 as the year of the horse, the year that we can shift the trajectory of our health, whether it's, trying to divert genetic predispositions, whether it's altering and reestablishing proper digestive function, whether it's, establishing new balance through our nervous system, our hormones, all of that. I would love to be the naturopath that comes alongside you and shows you and teaches you how your body's working. What is the best way to support you through lifestyle and diet and even supplementations to best support those systems in those dire times where they are shifting. So I'm very, very grateful for all of you. And I hope that you have enjoyed our grounding guided meditation for January reset and talking about all the ways that we can support and get out of that diet culture or January expectations and allow this opportunity to be clearing space and restoring balance for what the year has to come. So I want everybody to get in and get on their visits, and I am so happy for all of you.